Good afternoon, Internet. We're going to do a classic of handmade watercolor paint, and we are going to do Burnt Sienna from France. And we're using Color Rare, a French company that exports natural mineral pigments and for paints, and so we're going to take advantage. Here's the star of our show, and it is Terre de Sienna Brûlée de Francais, or Burnt Sienna, and I'm sure I butchered the French, but anyway, unfortunately some of us were not born in such a wonderful country. So I'm going to have a load of this, and I want, it's obviously my favorite color next to yellow ochre, which has not arrived yet. There we go. We've got the powder all over the place, and my hands, probably the reason why they recommend that you wear gloves is that my fingers are starting to look like a smoker's hands. Obviously I don't smoke. My slide is getting all mucked up because of all these pigments. I'll read the sign again. Mike Chaplin, in his book Painting Expressive Watercolors, shows us his method of making watercolor paints and the base. And here is his base, 4 parts. This is quote from his page 29 on his book. My method is to use 4 parts gum arabic to 1 part glycerin, or honey and glycerin 50-50, with a few drops of ox gall. So this is what we've been following. We're gonna and I have mixed that up in advance, running a little low, and I'm going to pour the medium into the pigment, and we are out. But I think we have enough. Such a slob. Yeah, you may not want to do this in your kitchen or in your house, but yes, I am going to have to add some more of the universal solvent to that mix, and that being, of course, water, and this being watercolor. I hope this doesn't get too soupy, but you know, case raw. One thing, I just can't help but mess with the formula. By the way, I'm mixing this, but really it comes already some of the finest. As you can see, it just goes all over the place. Because, and they warn you to wear a mask. If I die of inhaling pigments, just as soon do that than die of cancer. So yeah, here we go. Oh, it's great, and it's really heavy pigment. I think right off the bat, I know after having done a few of these that it's perfect. So, burnt sienna. And I'm going to use 2 of these, so let's do one more. Burnt sienna, and it is from France. I don't know where in France. FR. And I'm going to pour this into tins. These are 15 milliliter tins, and I'm getting 2-ounce tins. But as you can see, on our second tin here, and we'll use the bowl itself. Let's see if I clean this up a bit. That pigment is really strong. And just to think, most of this is just dirt. Not everyone that can sell dirt for $32 a pound. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on it. Oh yeah, that's one thing I can do, and is I can put it in a tube as well. So I'm going to do that, and get my syringe that I use to fill tubes. I keep my traveling toolbox. I don't use a valise. I use a black and yellow toolbox when I'm going in plain air on the road. That's a few tins. Alright, anyway, I'm going to, I have a 10 milliliter tube, and the pigment is so coarse that I made that I can only get 5 milliliters into my syringe. It's so big, I think you could actually call it a mini baster. It just doesn't want to go. Well, I might give up on using tubes and just stay on tins. Yeah, let me just do that. I don't have a flat surface left. There, okay. And so I'm going to put the cap back on and screw for the pourer. And I'm going to label it as Burnt Sienna B Sienna. So there's my little tube. Here's my collection. So clearly we've done about 4 so far. We're on our 5th pigment. And this is going to work out really well as a wash. And that's going to be a wash together. Label that someplace so I know it's not a rich pigment wash. No one can read that but me. I'll be surprised. Okay, so now we've got our, you can see we've got our burnt sienna here, and we can load up a brush. Wow, and that pigment sticks to the sides of the mortar. Wow. Alright, we're going to test this, and burnt sienna. Let's do a wet on wet first. Wow, well, that's wet. Oop, I forgot. Should have taped it down. Again, maybe I should be testing these on a block, but all my blocks are at least 160-pound paper, and this is 90-pound paper, great for utility. I am going to put this on heavy. Oh wow, that's pretty rich. Now dry. And let's see if we get any granulation out of this. I'm going to spray some of this. Oh, that's nice. See how much staining it has. So here I'm going to try and see, well, not a fair test because I just put it down, but I'll test it elsewhere. Yeah, it's medium staining. It's even though I just put it down, I couldn't pull it all back up. So I could pull a lot of it back up, and maybe that isn't a measure for medium staining. We could see if we could scrub that out more. Okay, well, looks like we can. A little bit more. I'm going to use my handy dandy chamois. It's more like a sponge that looks like, well, chamois skin. But it just soaks everything up. Let's dribble some water here. See if we get any kind of granulation going. Well, of course, we could perhaps wait until it's dry. As you can see, we've really buckled this 90-pound paper. Maybe that's not the paper to test it on. I know I mentioned that just earlier this minute. Oh, what happened to my roll of paper? Just going to fall into the area. Oh, here's some of my pictures away too. How did we get so much wind occasionally? Everything's falling over left instead of having flat space. I have something called okay, so, well, I don't see any granulation going on, but then again, oh yeah, it's starting to feather out there, and it's starting to, I think I can pick that up with a somewhat drier brush. Okay, well, of course, this has not been on there very long, and it's still very wet. So I still it may be medium staining. As far as figuring goes, it's granulation is not quite there. Let's see if we can enhance the granulation. I applied some Winsor & Newton granulation medium, and I applied it here and here, and you know, granulation medium works, but maybe it doesn't work so well all the time, and for no reason. Must be some secret formula that okay, so we can see staining going on here after it's been on there for quite a while. but still, what's that mean? Well, after it sat a while, there's the stain. While it was still wet, we can obviously lift it off. So that's really not a test for lifting color. And my granulation area is right here and here, and I did just as well by putting water on it. So, well, we're just about at an end of this test for our pigment, and our pigment is Terra de Sienna. One second. Oh, I almost lived in Paris once. What a dreamy place that is. I was going to go to graduate school at INSEAD near Versailles, but things didn't work out. On this side of the pond, I got a job. Anyway, so I think we've covered what we can do. Perhaps what we haven't done is a really thin wash. And boy, this pigment. There, I've got a lot of wetness. Although I'm pretty sure there's still loads of pigment in my brush. This is some wash. Well, this is a really brilliant pigment. It has some nice features to it. It is granulating with just a little drop of water. And it does lift if you're quick. It does stain if you're not. So, that's it. Have a good day. Signing off from California, Southern California, Lake Forest. Adios. Arrivederci. Au revoir.